Hello everybody, and welcome to the Games I Love. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about this one right here, Taluva. Now, on the offset, this looks like a very thematic game where you're the settlers trying to expand on this island, all the while avoiding volcanoes that are erupting all around you. Actually, it does boil down to being an abstract strategy game where you're putting these three-sided hexagonal tiles down with different landscapes on, trying to expand your settlements from there, and all in all trying to be the first one to do so. Sounds interesting, so let me get it down to the table, I'll show you how it plays, and then we'll come back up and I'll tell you why I love playing Taluva. Now, before I get on to the actual way that you play Taluva, I need to let you know about the victory conditions of the game, and there are two ways that you can win the game. Either the entire tile stack runs out, and then it's the first person that has built 3 temples that wins, which are these tokens here. Every player will get one of these in their respective colours. So as soon as someone builds 3 temples, they are the winner at the end of the game. Or if that's not the case, then if there's a tie, the person that's built the most towers will win the game, which are these 2 here. And finally, if there's still a tie, it's the person that's built the most amount of their settlements, including ones that have been destroyed, that will also win the game. The other way that can win the early victory is if a player manages to build 2 of the 3 different building types on all of them. So if someone builds all their settlements and 2 towers, they instantly win the game. If they build 3 temples and all their settlements, they win the game. Or if they build 3 temples and two both their towers, then they also win the game as well. So that's how you win the game. But how do you play? Well, the game is played on these 3-sided hexagonal tiles, as you can see here, and they have different terrain types on them, but they always have a volcano piece on them. On the player's turn, all these tiles will be flipped up face down so you can't see what they are, but on a player's turn they're going to pick up a tile from the stack and they're going to place it down anywhere on the table, like that. Once that's done, they then place one of their settlements on that tile. So at the beginning of the game there's only going to be 1, so I don't know, I'll place it there. Now, on a subsequent turn, if another player goes, they don't necessarily have to build on that tile that they've just laid down. They can build on any tile that's already out, as long as there's a free space and it's not an opponent's settlement that you can build on, because you can't build on an opponent's settlement, but you can destroy it, which I'll get onto later on. So say I've done that, the other action that you can do is you can expand a settlement. What that basically means is on a subsequent turn, once you pick up a tile, you can place it next to one of your settlements and you can expand that settlement into the same terrain type that's adjacent to the tile that you've placed down. So for example, I could say I'm expanding onto the beach, in which case there are 2 beach tiles that are adjacent to my settlement that I've built here. So therefore I can place 1 settlement on each of those beach tiles. Whereas if I chose the jungle, I'd only be able to build on 1 there. The third action that you can do, say if I've managed to get this far, the third action I can do is I can build a temple. You build a temple when you've got a settlement of at least 3 or more huts to it. And with that, on the next turn, I can put a temple next to that settlement. Now, temples cannot be destroyed. Same with towers, they can't be destroyed either. But settlements, or huts should I say, can be destroyed. Now what does that mean? Well, let's just build up this area so I can show you. So let's build it up like that. Now, on one of my subsequent turns, I can erupt a volcano, and what that basically means is you're building up rather than building outwards. So you can take this, and the volcano tile has to sit on a previous volcano tile underneath it, but it can't be exactly alike. So for example, I cannot place a volcano tile exactly symmetrical down there like that. It has to sort of overlap 2 tiles. So for example, I could build, I could build here, like so. Therefore, it destroys my hut underneath it, but it does still count towards the final total if there is a tie at the end of the game. So once I've done that, any huts are destroyed and taken off the board, but then I can build on top of this level 2. And when you build on top of a level 2, you get to place 2 huts on top of it rather than just one, which is a really good way and a quick way of getting rid of all your huts in a settlement. So that's how you expand on that. So let me just build it up a little bit more here. Another thing that you can't do is you can't overlap where there's an empty space. So for example, I can't erupt a volcano there because there's a gap underneath. There has to be a land tile of some sort underneath in order for you to erupt that volcano. Now let's just go ahead and build some more up. So I don't know, let's move that down there like that. Let's expand on that, and let's expand there as well. So say I've reached here. Now what I can do is I can erupt a second time and build up to a level 3. So if I can erupt here per se, I can then build one of my towers on there, because towers can only go on a level 3. They can't go on a level 2 or a level 1. Or if I wanted to build any huts there, obviously because it's a level 3, I would be able to place 3 of my huts on that tile. So again, a very easy way of getting rid of huts, but it's also the only way that you can actually build a tower. And also, as I've already said, towers and temples cannot be destroyed by volcanic eruptions. So once you've got one of these here, your settlement is basically secure. So that is basically the game. You are going to be competing with other players in order to get your huts, temples and towers all completely out. As I said, if the allotted tiles run out, then it's whoever built the most temples wins the game. If there's a tie, it's whoever built the most towers, and then if there's still a tie, it's whoever built the most huts, combined with any that were destroyed through eruptions or anything like that. Whoever's done that is the winner of the game. And also, as I said, the early victory is you've managed to get all two of the 3 different building types out, you automatically win the game as well. That's Taluva in a nutshell. Let's go back up top and I'll show you why I love playing this game. So there we go, that is Taluva. As you saw, it is a pretty simple game to grasp. All you're literally doing is you're placing a tile down and putting one of your things on it. A little bit like Carcassonne in that way, except obviously you've got a different shaped tile and you're expanding up instead of outwards. So let's go on to the bits I love first of all. And well, firstly, component quality is fantastic again. The artwork is superb. I mean, the box cover itself is visually appealing as well. You see this in a board game shop and you look at it and go, this looks interesting. You know, let's see what this is all about. But it's not just that, it's also the components that are in the game that are visually appealing as well. I mean, these tiles, as you can see, they're nice, thick, they're sturdy, you know, they're not going to break apart anytime soon. I mean, the artwork is, you know, pretty good on these tiles too. All the different terrain types, you can, you know, make them out quite easily. Like that's obviously a lake, you know, the volcanoes are there, you know, the meadows and stuff. So yeah, the tiles are fantastic. The pieces themselves are also really well done. They're nice little wooden pieces. They feel good in your hands. They're solid, they're chunky. They're easy to tell apart as well. You know, you've got the old you know, the old temples there and the towers as well. What I will say is make sure you don't drop these and step on them, because yeah, that could hurt quite a bit. And as you can see, the game comes up to 4 players. So you've got red, white and brown, or as I like to call it, mustard, ketchup, mayo and barbecue sauce as they're well known in my game groups. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. The gameplay itself is really quick too. Turns are extremely quick. As I said, all you're literally doing is you're taking one of these, you're putting it down, and you put a thing on top of it. That is essentially a turn. There could be a little bit of thinking behind it, because you want to think, okay, I want to get those towers out, but I want to try and build it in a way that I can build up to a level 3, because that's the only way you can get your towers out. But there's nothing that, you know, contributes to anything really like analysis paralysis sort of thing. You know, you're not going to sit there and go, I don't know really what to do this turn. It's not that sort of game. It's quick. I mean, the estimated time is about 45 minutes a game, and yeah, it pretty much works out that way. It is a very quick game. It's definitely a filler game for sure. It's one that you can just get out at the beginning or the end of an evening to start up or wind down. There's not that many overly taxing decisions that you have to do, and overall it's just a really enjoyable game. Now, on to the minor gripes, because, well, every game does have them. I do feel that this game is more suited to 3 and 4 players. A 2-player game does play very differently to a 3 and 4 player. With 2 players, there's not really that much player interaction. I've found that most of the games that I've played with just one other player tends to be I build one side of the map and the other player just builds on the other side, and there's very little, destroying other people's settlements with eruptions and stuff like that. So it tends to boil down to a race as to who can build their temples the quickest. Admittedly, that's not a bad thing, but it does mean that it does play very differently to 3 and 4 players, because that is much more hectic, because you've obviously got that element of that other player who's going to also be building their settlements up, and you got to think, they're going to be encroaching onto your territory, so you're going to want to, maybe get rid of some of their settlements so you can build up on there, and to stop them and to hinder them building up their temples and towers. And overall, I just feel that 3 and 4 players is a little bit more enjoyable than 2 players, but you know what? 2-player game is still fair play as well. That's basically all the minor gripes I have. I mean, the rulebook itself is very well detailed. I mean, it's short. It's only literally 4 pages long, because at the end of the day, this is a very simple game. I mean, you can play with teams of 2 as a 4-player variant, but I wouldn't worry about that. A 4-player game, a free-for-all is just as good, to be fair. So, yeah, props to that. The rulebook is very well done. So, yeah. That's why I love playing Taluva. If you've enjoyed watching this, then maybe you found a game that you might purchase later on. I mean, this is fairly inexpensive as well. As far as board games go, you can get it pretty cheaply. So yeah, if you do see it, don't hesitate and give it a go for sure. So, that was the games I love again for another day. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for joining in. And I'll be back once again with another game that I very much do enjoy and love playing. Until then, take care and I'll see you soon.